I feel like I'm talking about Good and Beautiful this entire video. Holy cow. So you know those videos where people are giving medical advice, but then they're very cautious and they're like, this is not medical advice. Please don't take what I say literally, ask your doctor. I feel like curriculum choices should have their own warning about it. Just because I use it doesn't mean you should use it. Well, hi guys, my name is Brianna. Welcome to Simple Joys Homeschool. Today, I wanted to dive into some curriculum choices. I feel like that's kind of a logical place to start because that's really where a lot of people start to have questions and want to see what other people are using. And there's this really cool thing that happens when you are searching for homeschool curriculum. When you look on videos of YouTube and read blogs about what other people are doing, it's almost like it kind of gives you permission to do things the way you want to do it, which I think is really cool. And I know I myself have found a ton of my curriculum over the years through different people that I've seen online. Some really good choices and some really bad choices, right? But it's kind of nice to get a peek into what other people are doing, see what their schedule feels like. And like I said, it just kind of gives you permission to do things your own unique way. I guess for starters, you would classify us as eclectic. I really don't know. I don't have a label. I kind of have my own style, right? We started out kind of Charlotte Mason-y, then I went into kind of Waldorf-y, then I really liked unschooling, and then I was a public school teacher. And so I have a lot of different influences going into my choices that I make for my kids. But for this year, I have a 3, a 6, and a 9-year-old. For all intensive purposes, that's kind of like preschool, first grade, and fourth grade. But as you'll see, that's not really super accurate, I guess. Today, I wanted to talk about core subjects, right? So this is going to be the ones that are individual for each of my kiddos. So I will start with my 3-year-old. I'm actually not going to super dive into that in this video. I want to do another video about kind of our what I call together time, which a lot of people call like morning basket or circle time, things like that. I call it together time. We do a lot of hers during that, so I'll get into more of her details in that video. Let's move up to my 6-year-old. She, like I said, all intents and purposes would be first grade, kind of kindergarten-ish, kind of first grade. She has a later birthday, and so she kind of bridges that span of time, right? You know, if we were in Australia and New Zealand when they start school in January, like she would be right on track for different grade levels, but we're in America and we also year-round homeschool and we start in July. So she's young for her grade, meaning that we're still working on kindergarten skills, moving gently into some first grade skills. So for my 6-year-old, her stuff is going to be mainly language arts, math, and handwriting. And then again, another video, I will get into all of our family subjects, things that we do more as a group. So for her individually, I have chosen this year to use the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts K. Now, we just started this a couple of days ago. This is the end of August, and we started our homeschool year right after the 4th of July. So we finished up the kindergarten prep program. What I have found from my eldest daughter and from this daughter is that Good and Beautiful is a little bit on the right on track to advanced side of the scale. And so for my daughter that I said was a little bit younger, this is perfect for her. And it comes with this lovely book. It's spiral bound. I love when things are spiral bound. It has this really cool set of easy reader books. I really like the Dash into Learning books too, though, if you're looking for like some really great first readers. Those are these. These are definitely really not boring. They're beautiful and they progress through your phonemic skills, know the different vowel combinations. So these books work really well. I have levels 1 and 2 and I really like those. Okay, back to what I'm actually using. So Good and Beautiful Language Arts have little books that go with them. They have these reading booster cards. I've never actually done level K. When my oldest daughter was in kindergarten, we did all about reading. I have all the 4 levels. I very well might end up going back to that, but I wanted to give Good and Beautiful a chance because I did level 2 and 3 with them, and I loved it. So I wanted to give them like a phonics chance to see if my daughter could increase her reading abilities with this program, or if I'm going to need to pull that one back and bring back out the All About Reading, because I do know that that would definitely give her the skills that she needs for reading. And then kind of with language arts, but also kind of separate for us, is handwriting. And I'm not super picky on this. I've used Denilian, I've used Handwriting Without Tears, I've used Good and Beautiful. This is just currently what we're using right now. And this is the level K book that kind of goes with the course, but she's really zooming through it pretty fast. And so I will either move her onto a Denilian, just a plain workbook. I might print off some copy work for her to try, or I might go ahead and get the first grade book. We'll just see when that time comes. Then for math, which is her other subject, once again, I really love Good and Beautiful. Guys, like, I'm a secular homeschooler and I love Good and Beautiful. I know, it truly is beautiful. Like, the artwork in it is amazing. And I won't necessarily show you everything because I'm sure you've seen it a million times before on YouTube. But everything is just like, look, it's so pretty, you know? And how can you not enjoy learning when what you're looking at is something that's like easy on the eyes, right? And more than that, what's the actual importance of the curriculum is that it is spiral. So in math lingo, you have kind of two roads you can take. You have mastery based and you have spiral. So mastery based is we give you your, addition facts with the number 3, and you master those before you move on to addition facts number 4, and so on and so forth. You do all of your addition, then you do all your subtraction, then you do multiplication, and you master each of these little skill sets before you move on to the next. In spiral based, you are introduced to a wide variety of skills, and then they constantly repeat themselves. How that looks is that there will be one lesson that really teaches it in depth, and then from that lesson on, it'll be in review work, or they'll have a shorter lesson about it to kind of really make that concept sink in for the child. So I love spiral because it ensures that these skills that were once learned aren't dropping off, right? Especially at such a young age, a lot of times you'll see that you'll get this skill and they'll be really great at it, and then you pick it up a month from now and they're like, I've never heard of this before, right? Because at this age, it's all kind of about exposure and their little brains are soaking up so much stuff. It's really hard to keep all of it in one place. And then, so with the math curriculum, that comes with a math box. This is the outdated one. I have had this for lots of years. So this is the wooden one that, yes, it got recalled, but it's fine. I fixed it myself. It still works just fine. And it has great little manipulatives in it, little magnetic tiles that stick on the board, which is not on the new box, by the way. Some dice, some coins, these little chips for counting and as like game pieces. And then you have some two-sided clocks for practicing telling time. Oh, and I should mention, also from my teaching days, we used a program called Structured Language Basics. And it's similar to All About Reading and Logic of English, and the methodology in which it teaches early phonics skills and reading skills, and that you are using all of your senses and all of that sort of thing. So I use some of those strategies with her as well. All right, so moving on to my 9-year-old. Now, because she is 9, she technically would be like 4th grade. She has quite a bit more that is expected of her in a week. It's all still very at her level, her interests, her abilities, all of those things. This is a little hairy. So like I said, we started the week after the 4th of July and it's now late August. So we've been at this for 7-ish weeks at this point. And I feel like every 1 month in, 2 months in, maybe this is just me being cuckoo, maybe a lot of homeschoolers do this, you kind of start to reinvent the wheel because you see, oh, is this actually a good fit once you're like a few weeks into the curriculum and not just the first, free weeks that they will show you, and you start to use it with your kid and you really see the style of it and how it flows with the rest of your family schedule and dynamics and all of that. I'm kind of at that point. So for my 9-year-old, we started out using All About Reading, and that was great. And at first it was hard and it was challenging and she cried and we had to take it very, very slow. And then there was one winter she just figured out how to read, like out of the blue. I remember it like it was yesterday, right? She picks up this book and just starts going to town. And I was like, oh my God, this worked. So after that, the All About Reading curriculum went a lot faster. So she ended up doing levels 3 and 4 in like less than a year. We did more than one lesson a day and she just buzzed through it. And by that point I was like, dear God, I know you know this, but I just want to make sure we don't miss anything, right? Because there's some people out there that are not tied to finishing curriculum. I unfortunately am not one of those people. I get a workbook and I'm like, I must do every single lesson. And I know that that's not right. And I know that that's not advisable, but maybe it's the type A in me. I don't know. We'll psychoanalyze me another time. Eventually, we slowly moved her into Good and Beautiful, and I really loved it. So level 2, year 2, I printed off the units and we kind of skipped around a little bit, and that was really great. And I actually loved how much variety there was in it, that there was a little bit of diagramming, a little bit of grammar, a little bit of spelling, a little bit of handwriting, a little bit of reading, and you know, it was just really varied. And again, the pictures and the illustrations were just so beautiful. And the fact that it had geography and art added in, that was what sold it, because I was slacking on the geography train, and I would like buy these workbooks and we wouldn't do them, and they were really dry and boring and very schooly, and it wasn't working for any of us. So for 3rd grade year, I bought the actual book, and that was last year, and we loved it, right? The readers were amazing. You do this like dual reading situation where parent will read a page, student reads a page, and there were some really great books in it. The workbook itself was a little harder, but not so hard that it was super frustrating. And again, the illustrations and the art study and the geography work was just, you know, amazing. Very long explanation to say, we're starting out this year with level 4 Good and Beautiful, but here's the catch. I don't love it. So it has all the good points of last year's, of it's varied, it's great illustrations, it has the art and the geography and the grammar and the writing and the spelling and everything all included, right? Like this program lacks for nothing. It's a lot harder, right? So 3rd grade was very much, it felt like a stepping stone year. This one felt like a leap ahead. And we're both kind of struggling with it, right? So I basically am to the point where I'm going through and modifying what I expect out of her. There's a lot more physical writing, and that's something that she struggles with, which I think that is absolutely okay for parents to modify the curriculum to their kids' ability level. One other thing that I've noticed is that the lessons and the stories are, how do I say this? They're a lot more churchy. We are secular, and up until this point, Good and Beautiful has been very easy to adapt. And if it gets preachy or quoting Bible verses, we can easily skip over it, adapt the wording, whatever we need to do to make it fit my family. It's a lot harder to do that this year, and that's kind of a bummer. But I keep coming back to it because it has all the things covered, has all the skills covered. It's spiral. It has, just stunning photography and map work and paintings and sentence diagramming that actually makes sense, right? Like my daughter's not complaining about that. Who in their right mind that was public schooled like me in the 90s didn't complain about sentence diagramming, right? So I love it for that reason. The other thing I don't love is the other book that comes with it. It's the spelling and writing workshop. For one, I think having 2 full books at this age is just too much work. And again, that's when I go back to, it's okay to modify it, shorten the assignments, yada, yada. But you kind of run the risk of losing a lot of content when you do that too much. My other issue is with the spelling specifically. I don't love how they do it. So at the end, you'll find this list of challenging spelling words, and you're instructed to go through and kind of like pre-test your kid and see what it's like. Okay, here's the first 10 that they don't know. Let's work on these. but there's no real rhyme or reason to it. And this might just be because of my public school background of when you introduce a spelling list, it has a very strong phonemic principle that it's trying to teach with it. That way you can follow the rule and you know, oh, EA says as in head, and you'll have bread and red and, you know, all these words that follow that EA pattern. This is just kind of random. And for instance, on this assignment that we just did, this drawing right here would have her write the spelling words. Let's see. So there's 20, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of spelling words. And you would use all the words at least twice, but as many times as you desire on all the lines in the picture, which great innovative idea, right? That's not something you'll find in public schools, but that is a lot of writing the words, especially when you've already had a lesson in the book and a spelling lesson in the workbook. And that's just too much writing for my sweet girl. So I kicked out the spelling. And we're working on just the spelling principles that are taught in the book. And then on the writing workshop days, again, great information, great pictures, too much writing. And I don't know that it's actually helping her learn how to write. So like this would be a writing assignment and I will go in and heavily modify it. So contemplating switching because that's a lot of modifying that I'm having to do, and I wonder if I'm losing the integrity of the program by modifying it so much. So that is coming up. I have some things in the plans, have some books that are coming in to try out another curriculum to see if we like it. The other stuff that comes with the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts is that you have these readers. There's a biographies and a personal reader. I love Good and Beautiful books. I mean, some of our favorite series that we have read together has been from their personal library on there. Lantern Lane is what we're reading right now, and it's amazing. We read Badger Hills Farm. It was amazing. I love all of their little books. So since I took out the spelling from the Good and the Beautiful, I still wanted her to work on some spelling skills. So I just got a workbook. It's just a spectrum workbook. It goes through and it is a lot more public schooly of it has words that kind of match each other. You do the same thing pretty much every week. You write the words. The next day, you fill in the blanks on sentences. And then the following 2 days, you'll either have some sort of this is a homophone, or let's mix up the spelling of it. Or maybe there'll be a crossword puzzle with the words, something like that. So pretty boring, but also pretty easy. And it's easy for me to grade, easy for her to do. And I know that she's at least getting some spelling in. And then last in the language arts category is, of course, handwriting. And I did, like I said, I've used lots of different handwriting curriculums before. I've used Anillion and Handwriting Without Tears, and they were both great and wonderful, and they work. This year I just chose to go ahead and do the Good and the Beautiful one since I was placing that order anyway. There is this rainbow system where you follow the colors of the rainbow to know what stroke comes first. So if you can see here, it shows on the stroke that you start at red, work your way through the colors of the rainbow, and there's a little key up there that shows that. I really like it. She's learning cursive through it. Again, it's getting a little churchy for me, so we'll see. I might skip some pages. I might have to switch where to on that. I don't know. We'll find out. And I knew with Good and Beautiful that there would come a point where it wouldn't work for us. And I knew that I would be disappointed when that day came, and I am, assuming that it is coming now. But it's really good for the second and third grade level. So I don't know. We'll see what I do. Okay. So the other things aside from language arts that I expect from my 9-year-old, because that's only one topic, right? So we did language arts, spelling, and handwriting. Now for her math, we used to use Good and Beautiful. Again, I've already sang their praises. I love it. In my soul, I love it. And last year we started with it, and instead of pausing, because again, I have the whole complete the curriculum thing, instead of pausing and reinforcing addition facts and subtraction facts, I switched her curriculum. It was a good switch, granted, but I didn't have to do it. So she's currently using an online program called CTC. It's Australian, I think. It is mastery based. It is not spiral based. So that is my one complaint with them. Second complaint being that I personally am a pen to paper kind of gal, and the idea of doing math on a screen is weird to me because that's not how my brain works, but maybe it's how her brain works. We'll see. It's really great. They have little video lessons that kind of like show through a PowerPoint of the problems. There's a lesson summary page. The problems are graded as they do it. You can set how good of a grade they have to make before they can move on, and it pushes their assignments to them every single week. So at the beginning of the year, I just went in there and I chose how many weeks we would be schooling and said, we're doing the fourth grade, the whole curriculum for the fourth grade, distribute the lessons. And magically it did it. And she has like 2, maybe 3 lessons a week. And then she has like a review page that she does with it as well. It's working right now. She has some days where she gets frustrated, but it's math. Who doesn't get frustrated by math? Because she only has 2, maybe 3 assignments on there, I am going to bring the third grade Good and Beautiful book back in on those off days. And we're just going to use that as review. Since I have it, it's already been marked in, we might as well, right? And then we can kind of see by the end of this year, okay, where do we want to go with this? Do we want to continue with CTC because I already paid it for this year? Or do we want to switch back to Good and Beautiful now that you kind of know how both of these programs flow? So we will see how that goes. Also, when we're like in the car and stuff, I have the musical multiplication. She has been working on set A for a year, which is fine, bless her heart. I do not know my multiplication facts, so I am fine with her taking as long as she darn well needs, because maybe she will learn them unlike I did. And they have a new app, which is so great. It's the cards on your phone and it sings the songs, whereas with these cards right now, I have to pull up my computer where I downloaded the songs. It's a whole thing. So the app makes it wonderful. Definitely worth the one-time payment that you make for it. Even if you don't use Good and Beautiful curriculum, you should get the multiplication facts app that they have because it's wonderful. She's also doing typing from Good and Beautiful. The reason I chose this is because it's not a computer program. It uses a Word document on the computer, yes, but it's not a video game. And she doesn't have to get on the internet for it. We are a very slow technology family. We do not have all the new gadgets. We like things the caveman way, and typing is a necessity of the world. So she will do it in the bare minimum way that is possible. The next thing that she has is we are rotating between, so we'll have 1 week of one week of another, of music and art. The art lessons, in years past, I've picked kind of like an art style that I want to focus on. Last year, I had her do this paint by numbers series. It was really cute. I loved it. She got a little frustrated by it because she can be hard on herself, I guess. But they're really cool. They come with all these things that you need. And it's like a paint by number, but it's on a canvas, so it actually looks like you made a real painting when you're done. And then in years past, we've done, we've done watercolor, we've done chalk pastel, we've done lots of little art things. But for this year, so far I've just been doing drawing because she's actually kind of started to show an interest in it, which I've tried to push in years past and she hasn't latched on. So this year we're just going on YouTube. I believe the channel is Art Hub for Kids. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we just look up something that she's into or something that fits the season that we're in or something else that we're studying. And I look up a how to draw it video and she sits there and she draws it. All right, so on the weeks that she doesn't do art, like I said, we rotate between the two. I have her doing a music lesson. Once again, Good and Beautiful. I am trying out this year their brand new music appreciation course. It looks really pretty. And there's this really neat sticker at the end, and they have like an electives book and they get to put the sticker whenever they've completed the elective. So I'm excited to see what other electives they come out with in the coming years. Right now, we are only through lesson 3, so it's really hard for me to say what this course is going to be like, but there's already a lot of churchiness in this one as well. And I thought it was going to be a lot more neutral music than this. And like I said, that's not us. So we'll see. I would love it if she wanted to pick up an instrument and we could find a teacher for lessons. Nope, not interested. I was in choir my entire life. Love it if she wanted to join the homeschool choir. Zero interest. So somehow this child will learn music because it is part of my family culture in a huge way. My dad was in a rock band my entire life. and I was in choir my entire life. So somehow, some way, this child will learn music. Okay, the other thing that is left for my eldest daughter, my 9-year-old, is history. All right, so for history, we didn't finish what we started last year. So that is what we are doing this year, is we are finishing what we started. We have been reading through History Quest Early Times. We have really enjoyed it. It's very storyteller-esque, which is what history kind of should be, right? It has the word story. See? Story. It has the word story in the name of history. So it should be like a story. This goes, so like I said, this is Early Times, which is basically prehistory through the 8th century is what it says. So we just finished the fall of Rome, and the rest of what we have left, I believe, is a lot about Asia, Byzantine Empire, Arabia, India, things like that. So we really only have a few chapters left, and I'm excited to get through those. Last year when we were doing this, I really tried to follow the guide very closely. So in this guide, and you can see all of this online, if you look up, Pandia Press is the company name, every week starts with a type of little scheduler, like you'll see in a lot of different curriculums, where they tell you, what you do on day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I never followed that exact schedule because I didn't have time in my schedule to teach history every single day. The major format is that the first day you read the chapter, you look up the time period in the Usborne Encyclopedia of World History. And this is amazing, by the way. Even if you don't use this course, you need this book in your life. There are amazing pictures and drawings and some really cool little detailed annotations. And there are internet links. I haven't used those, I probably should, but there's internet links for more information. So that's the first day, you look up those two things. Second day, you read the History Hop, which is kind of like a personal account of the time period that you just went to. And then you have a time traveler log, which we never did that. Then day 3 is where you create usually some sort of art-based thing, like a cave painting or a mosaic or building a ziggurat or just different artsy things that you can do. Sometimes we did them, sometimes we didn't. And then there's also some map work that's included. There's kind of like a review day where you can have them narrate back to you if you're in the Mason camp, or you can ask just like short questions. They can answer orally, they can write it, whatever your vibe is. And then the thing we did do was the copy work. So in every unit, there is a small copy work sentence, and then there's a larger one. I had my daughter do the larger one because she needs to work on her handwriting and her writing skills. And then there's also this enrichment day where they suggest different picture books and different internet sites that you can go to learn about whatever the topic was that you just learned about. Oh, this one was fun, where you mummify an apple and you carve it into a head. That one was really gross and cool and fun. So that's that. This year, I'm kind of ready to be done. So we are reading the normal chapter. We're not reading History Hop. She's doing the copy work and the map work. And that's it. We're not doing the fun stuff, which is kind of a bummer, but I just really want to get through it. Some other books that I personally pulled in with this, because I really like them, is this DK, A Child Through Time. And I also have A Street Through Time and A City Through Time. And we'll look at all 3 of those whenever the area that we're studying in history is presented in here, because this one doesn't have everything, right? It's a kid's book. It's not exhaustive. But this one's really cool because it shows a kid that would have lived in that time, like this. And it kind of like tells what this young lady, here's her name, it shows what her village would have looked like, what she would have done during the day, different rituals, gives a timeline at the bottom. So these books, these DK A Something Through Time books, are great resources to have just in your home library. Another really great one that was actually one of those enrichment day suggestions. A lot of those I just checked out from the library. A couple of them I actually bought to have because they looked really great. One of those being the Greek myths. This is a Deal Layers book. They have a lot of history books that you've probably heard of. Beautiful Feet Books uses a lot of Deal Layer authored titles. This one is about Greek mythology, which I was in Latin club, so I geeked out on this because I'm a nerd. For now, that is what my kids do for their individual subjects. I hope that something was helpful. Hopefully you found something that maybe you want to try, or that you saw me explain it and you're like, heck no, that's not me. Either way, maybe it was helpful. Also, like I mentioned, I will come and update you on how we might be making a switch on language arts and history. We'll see how it goes, and I'll let you know when all of my supplies come in. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you found something really helpful, and I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you around next time. Bye. Perfect. Yaman.